Often when you go to your local stores and buy something, you only feel one feeling: excitement. And in some occasions, that excitement truly pays off. In the case of Skylanders, that is certainly true. And with most of them being readily available in the secondary market, any new Skylander you can purchase could become your next favorite. While some Skylanders live up to people's expectations, others are left to rot in storage boxes. Portal Masters, welcome to Skylanders Code First Impressions. I know, what a surprise, right? It's been about 8 months since I last made one of these things, and now that I got great new ideas for this series, I think it's best if I brought it back. But during this series' 8-month hiatus, I obviously bought more Skylanders, and I have many to review. So for this video, I'll be reviewing Boomer, Prism Break, and Wrecking Ball in that order. 2 of these Skylanders I already have experience with before, and both are in my top 20, whereas the other one is a Skylander I have never tried before. So for this video, I'm going to pretend that I never played Wrecking Ball or Prism Break in my life so I can eliminate bias. Whereas with Boomer, it's pretty straightforward. Skylanders will be judged in a 1 to 5 scale, judging on how much fun I had on my first try of said Skylander, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. And remember, these scores are not final, these are just my first impressions. Now, let's have a bit of fun with Boomer. Oh yeah, I upgraded this guy a bit, just to let you know, because I played with him a bit in my spare time. Boomer was the last Skylander I needed to collect out of the original 4 tech Skylanders. I loved playing as him, and he's a great tech Skylander, but I do consider him less enjoyable compared to Drillbot, Trigger Happy, and of course Drill Sergeant. And despite being a Skylander that relies on explosions, he just doesn't have that sense of destruction. Also, he kinda sounds like Homer Simpson sometimes. But these are my only gripes with Boomer thus far, because otherwise this guy is pretty super fun. He's a maniac obsessed with explosions. I mean, who doesn't love that type of character? He also has the perfect mix of close and ranged attacks. His main attack is great for finishing off enemies at long range. His second attack is also great for separating hordes of enemies, and then you can pick them out one by one. And his third attack is such a great hit and run tactic. Use these 3 attacks in unison, and you'll be able to bring down the tougher enemies. I loved playing as Boomer, but he just needed that satisfying push to get a perfect score. So, unfortunately, to all the people who for some reason like Underground 6, yeah, this Skylander is not for you. Prism Break is often used for debate as being one of the most underrated characters in the Skylanders franchise, but considering how many videos of these appeared on the internet, I don't think he's that underrated anymore. Still, he's a good Skylander. His lasers can dispatch enemies pretty quickly, and if used pretty smartly, his reflection crystals could take out more than one enemy. I had fun revisiting what it was like to play as Prism Break for the first time. Plus, these crystals work pretty well for defense. Unfortunately, you're better off just using his lasers. If you're in the heat of battle, then getting the crystals from the sky is a big hassle, since when you play as Prism Break for the first time, only one will drop and not say 3. And if enemies are chasing after you, then using the crystals are definitely not a good idea, and again, it's safer to use the beams. It's honestly a damn miracle that Prism Break is one of my favorites, probably because he was my first Earth Skylander. But if that wasn't the case, then I probably would have hated Prism Break. Once you're upgraded and mastered him, Prism Break becomes pretty efficient. But if you want to have a fun first impression of Prism Break, then just use the lasers. Take my word for it. Many of you know that Wrecking Ball is my favorite Magic Skylander, so trying to remove that bias was an interesting experiment. But that experiment failed, because I was very content playing as him, albeit without his burp attacks and his disco ball. Wrecking Ball is not meant for close range, and I repeat, he is not meant for close range. His primary attack does really good chip damage, but it's much better if you stand far away and then use his secondary attack on enemies. Because if you're charging up your secondary attack and enemies hit you, that means you'll lose that charge and the animation will be interrupted. But like Prism Break, for new players of the Skylanders games, Wrecking Ball is not a good starter. His moveset requires patience, but unlike Prism Break, you'll be finding yourself trying to use the secondary attack as well as the primary. Probably the main reason why I enjoyed Wrecking Ball so much when I was younger was maybe because I loved his design, and I didn't want that cute fur ball to be destroyed. But if you're caught into this spot, then you literally have no other choice but to use a primary attack, and that can be frustrating to some players. Though I enjoyed replaying Wrecking Ball, partially due to the dumb AI, Wrecking Ball's the type of Skylander, the more you play, the more you'll love them even more. But for a Skylander you can love at day one, and Wrecking Ball sadly fails miserably. Alright Brawl Masters, you've seen these Skylanders in action. Now, it's time to rank them. Coming dead last would have to be Prism Break. He's a clever and well thought out Skylander, but for new players, a challenge to get used to. Wrecking Ball pretty much gets the same score. He may be annoying for new players to handle, and only Brawl Masters that can play Skylanders tactically will get the gist of Wrecking Ball on day one. This only leaves us with Boomer, who gets a 4 out of 5. He's a very enjoyable Skylander that anyone could love. Hopefully once upgraded, he'll be nigh unstoppable. However, these were just my first impressions of each character. Question is, what are yours? I'm open to any opinion. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, we did not have the best start to our new season of Code First Impressions, but will bigger mean better? Stay tuned.